Welcome to Radicards TV on Radicards.com. I'm your host, Patrick. Today I have a special guest with us. I have Susan Lulgjuraj, Marketing Communications Manager for Tops. Thank you, Susan, for taking this opportunity to sit down with me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. Are you nervous or excited about this interview?
Excited, not nervous. I've done a lot of these, so it's kind of cool. I like it. I like it though. I started out, as we were talking about earlier, I started out as a card blog, so I always enjoy, when people come and ask questions and stuff because I got my start, doing what, getting into the card world on my own blog. So it's kind of cool to, kind of give back or just talk to other people because I still collect cards, so I still enjoy talking to collectors.
Awesome. I love it. That's fantastic. I asked this of everybody. How did you hear about Radicards.com?
I follow like 300 card blogs in my RSS feed. So it's likely, I don't know exactly, but it's likely like through word of mouth, like you popped up on somebody else's blog for a trade or did something else. And every time I see a new blog, I literally put it in my RSS feed and I pretty much read it like my RSS feed every day.
Awesome. Great to hear it. Glad to hear it. So, I found out about you years ago via your card blog, A Cardboard Problem, and when I started blogging in 2010, I was just doing random research for who else has been writing and publishing, and it's my understanding you're a big Yankees fan. Is that right?
That is correct.
I've also seen you across the interwebs blogging for other websites. Can you talk about the process of how you got involved in publishing for other websites?
Sure. My background is actually in journalism. So I was a sports writer for 15 years before I started working at Topps. I was writing about the Philadelphia Phillies. I went to the Super Bowl. I was covering college sports, high school sports, everything. And so I loved card collecting too. So I took my two things that I love to do, which was writing and collecting, and combined it into what became A Cardboard Problem. So my friend Marie and myself wrote on this blog for years and years and years, and it became pretty popular for a while. And I really think we we didn't write anything special, as there was no breaking news or anything groundbreaking. It was just two women who like to collect, and I think that's what it was. It was like, oh gosh, it's not just men collecting. Here are two women who like to collect. However, but because of that, Chris Olds over at Beckett saw like, oh, here's somebody with card knowledge, and reached out and said, hey, would you like to do some freelance work for us at the National one year? I think this was like 2012. And I said, sure. And I wrote a couple freelance articles for Beckett, and that turned into like a weekend of writing, turned into like 2 years of freelance writing then for them. And when there was an opening at Beckett for an editor, I put in for it, I applied, and I got a job there.
That's fantastic.
And now I work at Topps. Because of A Cardboard Problem.
It's so fantastic. I think it's really great. I know with my site, I've had some opportunities come because I've published with Radicards, and then I'm just so passionate about it, kind of like you are with your thing, that your passion leads to opportunities naturally. It's sort of a natural byproduct, which is a fantastic operation. So, got to ask you about your position at Topps as a marketing communications manager. Can you walk us through like a day in the life of your job there? What do you do?
Sure. I get yelled at on Twitter a lot. No. It's a lot of, looking at like products that are coming out and just trying to find ways to produce content around that, whether that's going to be putting stuff on social media, creating videos, press releases, blog posts, using all the different platforms we have to create content and put it out there for the collectors so that they have more information about what we're doing. So a typical day is me showing up in the morning and, actually going on social media and seeing what people are saying, because it's also important to see the feedback that you're getting so that I can let the brand teams know, hey, they're saying this about a product, or hey, there's a problem here, or hey, they absolutely love this product as well. And then it's, there's a lot of meetings that happen, but it's really just planning and trying to figure out the best way to put out content for collectors so that they're well informed.
Excellent. I love Topps. I mean, I can't finance all the products, but I'm a big Topps fan. just because it's my first pack of cards was 88 Topps baseball, and I got a Ryan Sandberg, and that was like my first star card, and since then it's kind of just grown into this like forever. Like Topps will always be in conversation with baseball cards when I talk about them. That's awesome. What do you like most about what you do?
I get to see like the products before everybody else, not physically, but like 2017 tops, or like not even. I'm trying to think. Yeah, so 27, let's say 2017 tops. I knew everything that was like going into it from a sort of like product standpoint. Like I knew what inserts were going in. I knew what the design looked like. So like I get a sneak peek before everybody else. I'm like, I kind of like that.
That's excellent. Did you get a sneak peek of that $27,000 briefcase product
I saw
that's
the
coming?
briefcase. That's what I saw. I saw a briefcase. I didn't see what was inside. I haven't seen anything inside the briefcase though.
Yeah, I talk about that with my friends. I'm like, this is why the kids can't get into the hobby. They can't finance. This would take like a lifetime's worth of mowing lawns to afford a pack of cards, you know?
I can't afford that box. I'm not a kid, so
I
it
know.
wasn't made. It wasn't made with like somebody like me in mind. And that's one thing I think about a lot too. It's Topps makes so many different products. You
Yeah.
look at an opening day, which is 99 cents a pack.
Hmm.
Yes, and you go all the way out to Transcendent Collection, which is $25,000 for a box of cards. And literally pretty much everything in between. And it's tough because as a collector, I know how it is. Like I want everything. I want everything of my guy, I want everything of my player. But the reality is like these products, they're not made they're made for different people. Like
Hmm.
opening day is made for kids and entry level collectors and generally just people who like to collect cards, and then you move up to say like a Ginter, which is it's like $100 box. That's not a kid's not really gonna afford $100 box, but you have people who've been collecting for a while and want to spend money on a little bit more stuff, and then you go to a museum collection, and then to say like a dynasty or the mint or something like that. There's
Just
different
keeps going
types of
up.
cards
Yeah.
every time. Yeah. And then you go to, buying a new car with Transcendent Collection. So
Right. Paying off a whole student loan.
exactly.
I actually like that, though. There's a wide spectrum of products to buy depending on what your buying power looks like. I like that Bunt is now a physical, tangible product this year. It's
That
nice
was
to
fun.
see. What's that?
That was fun, Bunt. Like,
Yeah,
and I opened it. I was like, this is actually a lot of fun. I like this one.
yeah, and it's affordable, and so it's like another product for kids. In addition to opening day, they have another option. I thought that was a good idea to have. So that's really nice. And as you were saying, wherever you are in income bracket, there's a product for you. Like I'm not in the transcendent bracket, but I would love to have, say, a Frank Thomas base card out of the product should one exist, right? Because I'm a Frank Thomas collector.
Well, of course, I was like, Transcendent Collection, great. Like, this is not something I'm ever going to afford. And then they said, hey, by the way, Derek Jeter autographs. And
Right,
I was
right.
like, oh, you got me. Like, so how am I going to get my hand on that card?
Yeah, that leads us into another question is, what obviously your Yankees collection, so by default I'm going to think you collect Yankees cards. And
Hmm.
so within Yankees, are you more specific with who you collect, or is it just Yankees anything?
No, I mean, I'm a huge Derek Jeter fan. Like, my collection really focuses on Derek Jeter. I mean, I have other guys too. Like, I'll collect, if I'm pulling cards, I'll always take out the Don Mattingly cards. The Posada, Pettit. They're the era I grew up with. So, I'm always taking out their cards. But Derek Jeter is my collection. Like, I have over 3,000 unique Derek Jeter cards.
Wow.
So, I'm always putting his cards in. And there was a little pause there for a bit after he retired. There was no new cards being made, which let me have some time to chase some of the older cards I did not have. But as you probably seen, Derek Jeter will be having cards now in upcoming Topps products, starting with Dynasty, which I believe is actually out next week, and into 2017. So yeah, I get to start collecting new cards again of it.
I'm gonna kind of bounce back and forth here, but if you collect Jeter, have you acquired or are you yet to acquire the 1996 Select Certified Mirror Gold?
I do not think I have the Mirror Gold. I'd have to see, what I have to see with the designs. For some reason, I remember pictures and designs. So like when I'm going through cards, I'm like, nope, nope, nope. Oh, I don't have that one, and I'd have to see what it looks like. I can
That's like
kind of picture it, but if it's like a parallel, I don't have it.
It's like one of the cards that us player collectors are after because it's oftentimes the last one we need to complete, say, an entire year or entire series of years in a decade. It's one of those cards you just don't see at auction ever. If you type it in on Google and go to images, there are a few you
Yeah,
can see
that's what
it,
I'm doing right
and
now.
they do really well. The Jeter does extremely well in market, and
I do not believe I have that card. Yeah.
that's a great product. But what got you into collecting initially in your life? Like, what started that spark?
You know, I've thought about this before. Like, when I was a kid, I would see my older brother and like my cousins like trade cards and collect cards, and like it was always a lot of fun. But then as they got older, like a lot of people, they sort of drifted away from it. But then as I got older, I got a job, and I'm 16, 17 years old, and I'm like who you're saving up for like whatever you want at that age. I'm buying baseball cards on eBay, literally sitting there writing out checks to people because that's how back in the day you'd have to buy things on eBay because
Okay.
I'm old, obviously, and it just sort of stuck with me. Like I enjoyed collecting things, like so I think I just naturally gravitated towards baseball and baseball cards, and I'm buying lots of different cards on eBay of like Derek Jeter and at the time Alex Rodriguez. Even though Alex Rodriguez wasn't a Yankee at the time, he was still one of my favorite players.
It's funny you mentioned that you just liked collecting. As a young person, I remember when I was younger, before I got into card collecting, I was collecting the bags that the newspapers came in every day. There were different colors. They were either clear, yellow, or orange, and I'd collect the bags and organize them into drawers. And I was 4 and 5 years old, and I got coins and stamps, and then I finally found cards, and I realized like the thing that drew me to them, you might feel this way too, is the statistics, a player potential, numbers, mathematics, design, marketing, business. It's almost like stocks you can buy and then see how the player performs, and then the card will go up depending or go down depending, and then you can sell and make a return. And so that kind of hooked me in. Was that something that hooked you in the beginning? Was like the totality of what makes up the baseball card itself?
I loved the design. Like designs really drew me in because like you'd see a cool design. And for me, I'd be like, I have to own that card. I love the way it looks. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was so if something was so like aesthetically pleasing, like I wanted that's what I wanted those cards, and it was also just almost like feeling like you were closer to the game.
Yeah.
I remember like one of my first packs of cards was like I was like 11 years old and I went to the corner store like to get milk for my mom. And you can't do it anymore with the loose change. I'm like, hey, throw in a pack of cards, for like a quarter. I'm getting a pack of cards, and it was cool. You're going through, and so like a Yankee will pop up, and like it's so exciting because that's my player, that's my guy, and like it made you feel you were connected in some way.
Absolutely. What year was it that you started to get into it? For me, it was 1988.
That was probably 1991.
91.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the 40th anniversary Topps cards with the Desert Shields that I found out about much later on in my collecting life and realized like, oh my gosh, this Juan Gonzalez is 100 times base because it has the gold logo on the top.
Mhm.
Some of those early 1991 memories I have. Was there a time when you got out of the hobby? Like a lot of us, we reach, maturation and we go into college and card collecting is not cool anymore for a while, and then you get back into it when you've developed enough confidence sense of self where you can like, I'm okay with knowing other people knowing I collect. Was there a block
Yeah,
like that for you?
college was probably that time.
That
Yeah, and
time.
it's not just it was just because now there was just so much more going on.
Yeah.
Like you're going to school full time. I played softball in college. I had an internship. I had a full time job on top of going to school full time. I just didn't have time.
Hmm.
But what's funny is like it wasn't though I stopped collect. I didn't like really collect cards, although I was still buy packs here and there. But I did find myself collecting other things. I now, unfortunately, have a massive DVD collection because I would buy tons and tons of DVDs, collector's editions, and now they're sitting in boxes someplace worth a lot less than probably like 1988, packs of baseball cards. Um, but I then got back into it probably a little bit after college. I was probably around like 24, 25. And I was living probably about 2.5 hours away from my parents, and it was near Atlantic City. And I said, and my parents were going to Atlantic City, and I said to my mom, I said, pack my baseball cards in the car and bring them to me. And she did. She put them all in like these suitcases and brought them down to me. And then I got back into it, just buying cards and collecting cards, and it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I love that. That's so fantastic. It's nice to, it's like with me, the cards that keep me young, they keep me passionate and excited. Every card that I have that I've like kept over the years, I'm always like, oh, that's this reminds me of this time in my life. It's kind of like one of those things that keeps us connected to our experiences in our life. I don't know if you feel that way, but it's an important extension of who I am.
Oh, it is to me. Like not only like even now, like I still open older cards, and I'm like, oh my god, I remember when I was opening these packs of cards. I remember what I was doing when I bought this card. I still realize a lot of Jeter cards I have that I'm like, I remember where I bought them. I remember like when I bought them. And it's really cool feeling.
Absolutely, absolutely. As a collector, it started with a card. Like, can you remember your first card? Your first, the one that you can remember that stands out to you as like, that's like for me, it's the '88 Topps Ryan Sandberg. For you, it's something else.
I don't remember like the card that sort of did it for me. I do remember opening like 91. I want to say Fleer, and like pulling a Mel Hall card, and I was like super excited about it. But the card for me that sort of was like, that made me thrilled was when I finally was able to get a 93 SP Jeter,
Oh
and
yeah,
I was just so happy to like finally own this card. And it's not like the card's like not in the greatest condition, but I didn't even care. Like I just wanted the card to have it.
that's a big one, and it's come up over the years quite a bit, and it's probably just going to continue to garner and
Yeah, so
appreciate over the years.
I want a better copy of Rush, but I
Totally.
don't have that.
I'd like a PSA 8 if I can land one. That'd be because nines are a significant difference in price from an
Yeah.
8. And a 10 is not even conversation. I can't even have a conversation about it. Tell me, how do you keep track of your collection? You say you have over 3,000 unique Jeter cards. How do you catalog your collection? Do you do anything like a Word or do you Excel or Google Sheets or
Yeah, I
do
put
you
everything in Excel.
Excel?
I sort of like, when I get to it, I put everything in Excel and then just see what I have when I look for. I usually put it in like my Google Drive.
Hmm.
So if I'm at a card show, I could just pull it up on my phone and see if like I have this card. Because like while like the times like I said, like I could look at a design and be like, oh, I have this. The whole times I'm like, I'm not sure if I have this, so I'll have to look it up.
Absolutely, I do the same thing with Google Sheets. Do you track what you still need, or does your list just have what you own?
I just have what I own because the needs list because I want all the Jeter cards except to be fair though, I'm not like going after all the autographs and like the memorabilia cards. I really want all the base parallels and inserts. So if it's not on the list, then I need it. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So funny, I'm the same way. I've been doing the every year I'll add in whatever was released that previous year, and I'll put it in my list, and then I'll bold it whenever I get the card, so I can quickly figure out what it is I still need. But granted, and we'll talk about this in a minute, is that I focus on a certain type of card. So knowing I'm not going to get all the Frank Thomas cards, but that's the beauty of it. I can go my whole life and collect. That's never an end point. With you, do you focus on anything specifically within Jeter? Like there are cards that I'd want, but they're out of my price range. So, for example, the Transcendent, or there's some triple thread stuff and other things from the '90s that's really quite rare and valuable. Is there a certain type of card that you go after more than another type? So for me, I collect say base cards that don't have autos and jerseys in them. Other people might be the flip. They might like only do jerseys or only do autos. Is there something that you go for after over something else?
Yeah, same thing. I'm not really interested. Not to say I'm not interested. I do own autographs and like jersey cards of Derek Jeters, but if I'm at a card show, like I'm hit the boxes first. I want to see what base and inserts and parallels that you have, like that I don't own yet. So that's where I go first is to own that. But if I see like a jersey card with a pinstripe in it, I want it. I don't generally go after the plain white or the gray swatches when it comes to his cards.
That's okay. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Are there any particular ones that come to mind where you're like that's an incredible pinstripe, or that's a nice patch?
Um, I own one patch card of Derek Jeters. The one thing I don't have is like a patch card. I'm trying to think of what I own of that. There's actually one. Actually, my husband bought me it was a museum collection card of an oversized jersey window.
Hmm.
So it had like three or four different like pinstripes in the window, which was it was really cool.
Awesome. That's excellent. Are there specific cards that maybe you've that have eluded you over the one or two cards, but man, I've never seen it. Been searching for it for so many years, and I still haven't been able to track it down. Do you keep like a top list, like a top 5, 10, or are there certain cards that you're just every day looking for?
Not really. Like it's whatever I don't have is sort of it. There's nothing really like that. I was collecting like Kevin Kuzminoff cards for a little while too. And it was actually one of his cards. His was were they were much cheaper, so I could actually go for everything on his, like like jerseys, autograph base, everything. And there was one autograph card I could not find, and it was driving me crazy. I'm like, how is it that I've seen every other autograph? They're supposed to be made in the same quantity, and could not find this card. And then one day I went to check out my cards, and somebody was selling it for $5. I was like, if this guy only knew that how rare this card was, he would be selling it for $5. And I bought it, and I was like so excited.
So that's so funny. That's so funny how you look for a card that's rare to you because you haven't found it, and knowing that there may or may not be a specific massive macro desire to have the card, so it's not listed ever. So it's
Yeah.
hard to find for those of us who actually want the card. So when we do find it, we're overexcited about this purchase, and it might be very affordable to us, which is like the best of both worlds, right?
Mhm.
Being overexcited about something that's accessible, that's attainable once it does reach market. It's really an excellent part of collecting. I've always enjoyed that. Do you collect anything else besides Yankees or
Yeah, I
Derek
mean, I like the TV show Supernatural.
Jeter?
So I collect the sets that were made, current sets, the Cryptozoic sets, and Inkworks made sets years ago. So I have all the base cards from the Inkworks sets. And right now I'm just sort of cherry picking like which autographs from the Inkworks sets that I've been picking up on eBay. But those Cryptozoic sets I've collected the entire seasons 1 through 3, which they combine into one product. I finished that master set, and now I'm working on the master set for seasons 4 through 6, which is actually, you're talking about like not being able to find a card. The dual wardrobe cards from that product are so tough to find. I've only seen them on eBay like twice, and like those are going for over $100 each, and I'm not sure. Actually, I know I don't want to pay that much for each of them, so I'm kind of hoping they'll come onto eBay some more, and maybe the price will come down a little bit.
Dual wardrobe cards are the rare ones in the Supernaturals cards.
As of right now, it seems that way because it's been tough to pull. Luckily, I pulled like probably the best one because I bought a case of it and I pulled the best one in my case. But I still need the other ones, and they're still going for like 100, $120.
How many cards are in that set?
I think 72 base cards, about 20, 25 autographs. I got all the autograph cards, and about 15 or so wardrobe cards.
Really?
And then there's parallels. There's 2 levels of parallels for the base cards.
Are you going to
And
go
then
after those too? You say you're doing the master sets, right?
yeah, I'm gonna go after those two. Like I slowly am like picking and choosing. Like when I see a decent deal online, I'll pick them up. I went to There's a non-sports show in Allentown, Pennsylvania, that I went to. I think it's Allentown. They call it the Philly show, but it's not in Philadelphia. And I went there and I bought a bunch of cards like for parallels to put on my set too.
Awesome. This leads me into another question: is how do you archive your collection? Do you do the binder thing with the pages, or are you more of like a top loader and penny sleeve thing, or what's your
Um,
thing?
the base cards all go into binders, like the base inserts and parallels all go into binders, and then the autographs and the memorabilia cards will go into top loaders and penny sleeves.
Okay. What do you prefer in terms of like binders and top loaders?
I
Or
like the binder
yeah,
just because like it's easier to sort of sort through them and I'm also crazy about it. So in my cheater collection, it takes me longer to put it together because everything is in sort of date and alphabetical order. So all of 1996 is together, and it's 96 Bowman and Bowman's best and Bowman. It's like, and then we go through to the end. So like at the end there's upper deck cards. So I'm a little crazy about how I sort my collection.
yeah, I used to do that. The question becomes when you have a binder and you've got a full year almost complete, and then you're like, okay, this is good. I don't Everything looks as it should. It's in the pages it should be, and then you come across like a misprint or an error or an overprint, and you're like, where do you reshuffle everything over to put
I
the card?
Yes, that's the problem. That I'm like, why don't I figure out a better system?
And my tip to you is, and I don't know if you already do this, and you might, so forgive me if I'm telling you something you already know, but the USA made Ultra Pro penny sleeves, they fit into the page pockets So if you put the card in the penny sleeve, you can put that in the pocket and it'll slide in perfectly. That way, when you're shuffling around, you're not damaging the cards anymore.
Yeah. I
So
think I've had some of them in penny sleeves like that, but then it just like I don't know, just got cumbersome after a while.
yeah, yeah. I know Jeter has many cards, and I think once you reach a certain number, it's like, oh my gosh, there's a Bowman error from 1998, and how many cards in 1998 there are? It might be the most extensive year, at least for me and Thomas. It's spread across several boxes, but um, in the binders thing, it would be like, do I shuffle everything over the course of like two 5-inch binders to put this one card in the.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I have it broken down like this year's are in this binder, this year's are in this binder. So I don't have to shovel 5 different binders,
Yeah,
but a lot of pages.
I think it's great though to have it organized by year and then by make, and that's a great. So that's the ideal way to do it for finding things. It certainly
But
is.
but
It's
the craziest way because it's very time consuming.
it is, but it's so nice. What I loved about the pages is you could to see 9 at a time. You can see like parallels the 3 at a time. Blocks all together. It just creates a really aesthetically pleasing viewership. At least for me, when I was doing the binder thing, I liked that. And it's
Yeah.
perfect for sets because the shuffle doesn't really exist because you're just filling in the holes, which is really nice. If you weren't collecting Jeter and Yankees, what would you be collecting?
Right now I've actually have an interesting collection of Pop Funko dolls.
Oh yeah,
So those have been they're bigger than cards, so they take up a lot more
yeah.
space.
They stack really well though.
They do stack really well. I appreciate that. But if it was in Jeter and the Yankees, probably. I mean, I'm a player collector. That's probably like at heart, I'm just a player collector. So somebody who would be my favorite player on another team. Um, I don't actually have one of them right now, and like Adrian Beltre, I like him a lot, but I don't really have many of his cards. I was actually like trying to figure out a new player collection when Jeter retired. It didn't actually stick with anybody. I liked Jose Fernandez at the time, and I bought a couple of his cards, but again, it didn't stick at the time. Like just to continue to buy and buy his cards. So maybe nobody.
All right, that's fair. That's a fine answer. Absolutely. I know that it's once you have a certain emotional attachment to collecting a certain player, then can it be replaced by another player? I mean, that's always the question with me.
Not yet.
In the 90s, I was doing Thomas and Griffey, and then when I got back into collecting in 2003, I had to pick one of the guys and realizing that Griffey was his prices were beyond what I could afford. So I think I always collected Thomas a little bit more anyway, so it just fit better with me. Do you have any future plans for your collection? So you know, some people might mention an interest of building their website to showcase their collection or creating a better system of organizing their collection or something like that. Do you have anything thoughts of how you want to interact with your collection in the future?
Yeah, I always pretend like I'm going to sit down one day and finish like organizing it in a way that I probably haven't put like all the cards like I've picked up into my Excel sheet, and then I think I'm going to post it on a cardboard problem. Why I don't really blog on there anymore. It still exists so that like people could see like, oh, here's her entire collection. I think I got through like 1993, considering he had cards in minor league cards in '92, and I got through '93. It's probably never gonna happen. Although I like to pretend like one day I'm actually gonna sit down and do it.
How frequently do you take your new acquisitions and filter them through your collection?
Probably every couple of months when I see like when the pile starts to start growing, when I'm like, ooh, I probably should be logging those in, so I don't buy doubles the next time I go out to the card show.
Yeah, yeah. What do you feel is your best Jeter card?
I have two different Upper Deck Sweet Spot autographs.
Nice.
Those are probably the best ones I have from like maybe value stand. I mean, other than the Upper Deck SP, maybe like from a value standpoint, they're beautiful looking cards as well. One's a black bat signed in silver ink. The other's like the sort of like beige, not beige, but like the wood grain bat and signed in black ink. And they're both like beautiful. I think those are both beautiful cards.
Yeah, the sweet spots are really nice. What are can you name a challenge or two that you've experienced in collecting Jeter cards?
money.
Yeah, right.
Cards are very, very expensive, and like they're only going to get more expensive, especially when he's going into the Hall of Fame in a couple of years.
Hmm.
The price is really just the biggest challenge I have. And also, I live in New York, so my card to card shows I go to are in New York. So he even gets like this sort of like New York bump when I'm trying to like buy his cards.
Yeah, it's location specific. When I was in Los Angeles, it was the Dodgers and Angels. People are marketing that stuff, which is normal. And it's a great way to be able to find new. You probably come across quite a few Jeter cards at shows because of your location, knowing that it's location specific.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, I do find I go to the card show and pretty much every dealer has a box of Jeter cards, so I know to go and like, all right, here we go. Let's go through your cards this time. Let's go through your cards. So I know I have access, which is great, but it's just a matter of like how much do I want to spend on cards.
Yeah. Well, Susan, thank you for sitting down with me and telling me a little bit about what you collect, what got you into collecting, your background with writing and blogging, and your story, essentially. I really appreciate that. My final question is, do you have any final thoughts to share?
Collect what you want. That's what I love to tell people. Collect what you love and don't worry what anybody else says about your collection because it's for you and only you.
That's an awesome thing to say. Absolutely. Thank you for watching another episode of Radicards TV on radicards.com. Thank you, Susan Lulgjuraj. I really appreciate you sitting down with me again. And until next time, enjoy collecting. If you like this video, please subscribe. Enjoy collecting. Thank you.